Hello, and welcome to a gaming conversation with friends. I've seen you all in chat. I could see you all in chat saying things are going wrong. Nothing went wrong. We were talking about ABK, but we don't really want to bore you with that at this present moment because everyone's talking about that. But yeah, we're back again. Thanks everyone that tuned in last week. It was really good. I hope you can all hear us. And welcome to Removable Sanity. How are you doing?
I can't complain. Thank you for having me back on again. Much appreciated. And I'm still loving this background. Very lovely. Pretty.
So it's very, yeah, it seems to be good. It does. I've got loads more videos for this week. This is me playing, what's it called? Hot Wheels.
Quake 2 remastered. Yeah,
Hot Wheels.
Exactly.
Actually, hang on. Quake, hang on. I've got you. I've got you here. I've got you. Hang on. There we go. There we go. There's me playing Quake 2 remastered.
Hang on.
It's probably the slight delay, maybe.
Yeah, slight delay for me.
How are you, VJ? You all good? Oh, game sound. Oh,
no, I'm
sorry, guys. Sorry. I messed that one up. The whole chat could hear the game sound. That wasn't supposed to happen. Cheers for the warning there, Indie Gamer. Sorry, yep. Indie Gamer's done it a few times before, so I've now done it.
You're in good company.
Yeah, I messed it up. Phew. No, the game sound's gone, Dragon. Don't worry. Sorry about that. I am sorry.
So not only did he forget who I was, Removable, but he even cut my intro in half.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I didn't. How are you doing, VJ?
Pass away.
How are you doing, VJ?
I'm all good, thank you, and thank you for sending those show notes through. I really appreciate
show notes.
And I am a little bit perturbed. I don't know how Removable feels about this, but this show's getting a little bit professional, shall we say? And that was not why I joined.
Well, that's why we're here, to try and bring
show's
it back
getting
down
professional.
to cups of teas and, you know.
This show's not going professional at all.
Extended pre-shows behind the scenes until we go live.
Yeah, we were talking. Removable is low, is he? And VJ is low. Okay.
So the gang wanted to hit this there. Either that or we're being deleted off of his Christmas card list.
You was on his Christmas card list?
Yeah, he's actually...
Jesus Christ.
There we go. I've turned them up.
Turn up desktop.
I've actually turned it on to full.
At this point, I think you just need to hire Indy to do like a pre-check.
Indy, to be fair, he has helped me a hell of a lot recently. He was pulling it.
Just get him on as a pre-check.
He was pulling his hair out. He was earlier. He was telling me how to do something. You don't have a problem with when the show starts. Well, it's because there's a setting in YouTube, and all you have to do is go into YouTube settings where the stream key is, and click auto start and auto stop, and that was it. That fixes the problem. So I've now fixed the problem when it start and stop. It will just start.
What did I say about twiddling with the old settings?
I did fiddle with the settings, but because Indy told me to, it'll fix the problem.
We was sounding perfectly nice and loud last time, and you had to fiddle with the settings, didn't you?
I haven't been in this one before. I don't know why, but you're both on full in Discord, and you're both on full and desktop audio in OBS as well. So welcome to Indie Gamer, VJ, Warwick Gaming, Masuku, Dragon Wolf. I've been seeing you recently on Hollow Knight. Well, on Steam, I have been noticing. I've got to buy. I won a game off Indie Gamer from his 3K stream. I won Omni. Is it Omni? Yeah, Omni. I've got to play it on Steam though. I've got to play that game.
You got to get past the tutorial.
I will.
Steam is what you're saying.
I will. Don't worry. I will. So yeah. So we're gonna. What should we go with? I don't want to get too professional because VJ's already complained it's getting too professional.
We don't get professional here.
No.
No, just whatever you want to do. I really appreciate just being on your show, Mr. Stubbs.
I think VJ was like when you got through the old DMs, he gave us a little bit of a breakdown.
So I'll just mention the Sega thing in case BMG turns up.
Sega.
Right. After 20 years, Sega has restored its famous London Sonic the Hedgehog statue, and I'm going to put the video on screen. You'll see it on screen now. Did you ever get to see that, VJ, in London? The Sonic statue in London.
I'm not sure. I'd have to see it.
I remember going to Sega World numerous times. That's the thing I used to go through. That's what we was talking about last time. The big tube of light. Yeah, I remember this.
It's on screen now. If you're watching YouTube, it's been restored.
Fantastic. Wonder where they found it then.
I don't know where they found it. I don't know how you could lose it, but maybe it was just in a storage container.
Well, you could see the amount of dust on it. Clearly, it had been.
Yeah, they're very completely.
Yeah, they've moved offices a few times, Sega.
Yeah.
I actually remember. Do you remember that they had they had the very first VR there, but it was in like a 360-degree ball, and it was I think it was a flight simulator, not a flight simulator, a airship battle simulator, and I remember flying around the head of that, and it was a nightmare. That's 360p in VR. It's like, dear God. But that was the very first time I've ever experienced VR, and that was at Sega World.
Oh, this arcade in Europe, it was home to countless Sega attractions. I'm reading off the video. I am. There's one very iconic Sega statue thought to be lost to time. It does appear to be found. They've got film of it in some room. His arm was broken off and everything. Yeah, it looks.
My gut feeling was in a storage room. Someone once they sold everything off, someone took it home with them.
But yeah, they put a lot of work into it now.
It might have been BMG who was probably working there, ripped the arm off and started beating it. So no one was looking. Probably
right. He will not like it if he sees this.
One too many animes recommended by removable. Though.
I tell you what, though, they've done a bloody good job on it. You can see how much
they really have. They've put a lot of I don't think that's viewable. I think that's probably in Sega offices. That is by the looks of it. I don't think that's where you can go and view it. Anyone can view it. It looks like it's in probably Sega London's offices, maybe. But yeah, they've put a lot of work into that. They have.
Brilliant.
And do you remember last week we will go on to this as well. This wasn't. I did put it in there, but it was something VJ was on about last week. I was saying I can't get the video to that. I've got the video now, VJ, for you.
Oh yes, the man who erased his name.
Yep, I've got the video now because it wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me download it last week, but I've managed to get it now. I'll
tell you one thing.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is not it. Is it? No.
It's
Ishin, isn't
it? It's that Ishin. Oh, you're joking me. I thought this was like. I thought that this is the man.
No, I think this is it, isn't it? Go debut.
But the sunglasses gives it away. The sunglasses give it away. There you go. This is correct. Well done, Mr. Stubbs.
Oh, I got it right. It's called like a on the downloader. That's the right one.
This has got to be Pink Street.
It does look like a really good game, though. It does.
Yeah.
It does
I'm
look
looking
good.
forward to it actually, along with Silk Song and Starfield.
Silk's Hollow Knight has overtaken the chat because Dragon Wolf discovered it and he's addicted to it. He says it's like crack, Hollow Knight. Masuku says he's ordered the physical version of like a Gaiden, like a Dragon Gaiden from
Hong Kong.
From Hong. So happy they released it on disc. Oh, Nice. Physical media. 9th of November 2023. But this isn't.
Is this game only coming? Is this only available on digital? Is it?
I think
Well,
they all are now, aren't they?
well, he's managed to order it, Masuku has, from Hong Kong. But
I need to check that. Let me check. Is it?
well,
Sorry, carry on.
yeah, Masuku's managed to order one from Hong Kong, but that probably may be where they're. Yeah, in the west. Yeah, in the west. Yes, well, Masuku seems to say they are releasing it on disc as well, in the west. But you know how adverts are, though, VJ. They never advertise the physical discs anymore, do they? Very rarely. At the end,
I'm just wondering why he didn't. I'm just wondering why it's not available to him locally.
Amazon or
maybe,
I know what you're saying.
Versus having to import it all the way from Hong Kong.
Oh, sorry. It's only digit. It's own no digit.
There is no digital in West. He was saying.
Huh? So you can't. I'm a bit confused.
Yeah, there is no physical. Wow, that's actually quite.
Oh, does he mean no physical in the West?
Yeah, he's saying that. I just checked online. There is no physical version of this game coming.
Oh, that's probably why. Fair enough. That's why it's imported. Maybe Sega's looked at their. Maybe Sega's looked at their stats or sales figures or something and not been too impressed, so they've just released it via download in the West.
Yeah,
that's a guess. I could be wrong.
Yeah. No, it's retailers in the UK and discount. I mean, I don't know if they still do it, but they obviously get huge margins, and also they discount content very quickly. When I used to live there, I don't know if it's still the same. You guys would better tell me better.
I don't walk into the shops anymore. I don't. Not game. No.
Yeah, and I think that this has got this. Well, the Yakuza Like a Dragon has a very very closed. No, closed is the wrong word, but very kind of concentrated fan base that will buy the game, and rather than giving 30 or 40% margin away to retailers, they can help recoup, because they're not going to sell 5 million copies, are they? But the 30%, even on 1 million units at $60 a unit is a considerable. It's like what, $18 million. It's a considerable amount of revenue, right?
Well, I mean, they could just do what's it called, 10,000, physical copies and see who wants them. But that's what maybe they'll do. They lay it down the line. Yeah. They'll just go, right, okay, we'll do like a limited release, and whoever buys it, buys it.
Well, I'll say that's a good point, Removal, especially if they could actually just if they're worried about giving GameStop all the margin, 30% margin. I mean, on 1 million units, if they end up with, if it's feasible that they'll ship, is $18 million. But you're right, they could ship 10, 50, even 50,000 units if they made them. They could just ship them to consumer direct from the Sega store if they had one right in the US.
Yeah, but why are they worried about that? Because digital, they take 30% cut anyway.
Well, physical retailers take even more, you see.
I'll do that. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
it's not just the retailer margin. It's all the logistics, the packing, the manufacturing costs.
True. One thing I was never been able to work out, and how physical works out for a lot of the time to be cheaper than the digital version. Does it make sense to me? That doesn't. A lot of the time, you can
the Microsoft. Say for instance, the Microsoft Store versus the physical store, where it's consistently at its original price versus what's happening maybe like 2 months later down the line to its drop price.
Yeah.
I think it's probably some sort of legality of where they can't actually drop it until, I don't know, like a year after, where the physical media doesn't matter because they've already paid for it.
Yeah, that's true.
So if they want to drop that product, they just drop the product, and that's where
if it's not moving fast enough, I can tell you now, Amazon, GameStop, they're super aggressive. They'll call you within a week and say, listen, the units that we've taken in, we're not going to sell them. Either we'll return them or we need to run a promotion. And remember, with digital, the 30% that we get told by various outlets that, hey, Microsoft, Sony take 30% margin. If you start to hit certain volumes in digital sales on console platform holders, the 30% is just the standard base rate. If you start hitting certain benchmarks in terms of sales, that actual percentage actually comes down, and it comes down retrospectively as well.
Yeah, so for every million, I think it's like, I don't know,
Even though you
cent or
think you're
something like
giving, even if you're giving 30% off the bat, that can come down quite well, not considerably, but it can come down to
something like that. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it will never. Maybe it'll go down. If they're doing really good numbers, it might drop down 20% or something. Maybe. They're still going to make money out of it.
That's right. 10 to 15, I'd say is what I can remember. 20%. I don't know if. So basically cutting the 30 down to 20 or 18, but there'd have to be significant quantities, which the big well, take FIFA, for example, right? But it's far easier to do business digitally for everybody than from a financial game perspective, than it is to deal with physical. Because there's a lot of, because once you've shipped that product, remember you've shipped it all on credit as well for 90 days, and retailers have all the power then.
It's true. It's true.
Not now, but obviously 5 years ago when digital.
Oh yeah. I think they still have some sort of, but not as much as they did.
But Xbox, as I say, as many times before, Xbox have pretty much removed all of their physical media in Japan for a long time now. And
yeah,
Sony
I know. It's just. I don't know. I try and find physical media now, and I try and buy physical media as much as possible because, to be honest with you, I don't think it's going to be around for much longer.
No, and the reason why physical media is available in Hong Kong, it's partly to do with their ability to export that product into China, which you can't buy all the games there, but through China, through the border, cross border, you're not going to send digital copies, are you? It's going to be all physical media.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Sorry for getting off topic here, Removable. I apologise.
No, it's good conversation. Is.
It's what we do, mate. It's just part and parcel of our.
I know, but like
conversation with friends.
Notes, but he's put in so much work, and I feel like, okay, we need to dedicate 5 hours to that now, just to show our appreciation.
Have I?
But then it wouldn't be the proper podcast, would it?
Right, it just looks better. That's all.
Is anyone gonna play Sea of Stars? Because I've nearly finished.
Oh, that's one bloody trailer that I didn't get actually, but it does look good. Sea of Stars
does look good. Removable. Have a word.
I just said does. Sorry, you heard me wrong.
You
heard me wrong. I said it looks good. Hang on. Keep talking about Sea of Stars. I'll see if I can do this on the fly.
He ain't gonna be able to find it. I think at this stage, I think it's one of those games that again, it's another RPG. And I just don't think I'm going to get the time to do it. I'd like to, but I'm just not going to get the time to do it. Not with the stuff I'm reviewing at the moment as well. I'm just. I'm struggling. I am struggling.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to who did I speak to? No, that was regarding the Silk Song and stuff. So I've nearly finished Ori Will of the Wisps. I don't know if either of you two have played that, and then so it's just in time. Because I funnily enough, I thought that Sea of Stars was coming out sometime next month, but I think I got it confused with Lies of P. So it's out tomorrow. Yeah, I just
see my skills.
Lies of P's next month.
Yeah, and last week we were talking about Starfield and that. So I've been said that the console versions should be pretty robust. So I don't have anything in between this year, so
there we go.
Or I really, unless I don't enjoy it, playing Starfield until Silk Song
drops. Audio, game audio.
And this is not a game that remember. This is not a game that
sorry about
not having the physical dexterity to enjoy.
No. This is literally it's one of those games that it's going to take me. I know what's going to happen. It's just going to take me way too long.
I completely forgot about the audio again. Sorry about that. Silver the Hedgehog. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, sorry about that, people. But yeah,
it looks good. It does look good. I just don't know when I'm going to get the time to play it. That's the
I'll
thing at
play
the
it.
moment.
I'll play it for
is.
you, removable. How about that? I'll
Yes,
play
you
it.
play it for me and tell me how amazing it is. Keep sending me those little screenshots. Speaking of that, we've still got to try and get together and play Diablo at some point.
Yes, 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 yes.
But there's yeah, this does look good. I must admit.
This kind of looks like if I had one of them Steam decks. I haven't, but this looks like it'd be a great handheld game. Also, like for VJ, this would be great for a Switch as well. This looks like it'd be that kind of game.
Yeah, this. You're absolutely spot on. I still haven't picked up I mean, removable kindly mentioned Diablo, which I've promised to play with him, and which I will do, of course. And but the other game that I haven't picked up, which I've got on my list actually. My list is very short, to be honest. It's not a long list because I've finished the games I play. Is Octopath Traveler 2, which is sort of coming down in price, and I think it'll be $30 come November. But
I suspect
as
so.
I say, it just depends on Starfield, how much time that takes up if I get into it and stuff. Because I really don't know. I took Removable's advice. Don't look too much into it. See the trailer and then just switch off and then play it.
Yeah, at least for me, I'm gonna wait for about a month, maybe. I don't know. The first week or two is when they're going to have 1,000 patches being dropped. So I'm just going to be like, yeah, I'll wait a little bit. Just wait a little bit. I know why people are excited, but I'm just like, yeah, this is Bethesda here. They do have a knack for.
You're not going to buy the.
Sorry.
You're not tempted by the early access here.
No, I think Removal's got a very valid point, Mr. Stubbs, because it doesn't matter how many playtesters or QA guys or even the people that internally, or whether even the people that are doing the localization and the people that are doing the rating for the game, that actually have to play the game all the way through before they'll give you a rating. Even if you offer an M rated, they won't give it to you. Is the fact that when you hand out that sort of product out to tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people, they're gonna find a considerable amount more to actually address within the game, whether it's basically, if it's just stuff basic like nerfing and debuffing or whatever, or buffing or whatever to the game, like we saw with Elden Ring, right? Removable. We know how seriously the Japanese take QA before they release a game. But do you remember the number of patches and changes that were up until launch? Because you can have 1,000 testers or 2,000 testers, but it's nowhere in comparison to several 100,000 people actually physically playing the game.
That's right. Yeah.
And what are those things called? What are they? What's that system that they use? Removable. Escape me now. Like an analytical program, right? Or where they monitor what people are doing or not doing, and so on and so forth, so they can make changes, right, to the game, hopefully for the best, right? So
that's right. Yeah.
I think it's spot on. 2 weeks is. Removal was 2. Did you say 2 weeks or 1 month?
2 weeks to 3 weeks, maybe a month, just to give it to kind of push through the patches that are there. The only issue is going to be is that because the next month it'll be on every Twitter 24/7. So if you can avoid spoilers, so be it. To be honest with you, I think most people once it comes through, most people are super busy moaning about something, like graphic fidelity or something else they'll be moaning about. I think it's again. I just always give Bethesda games have always had patches, and I don't think I've spotted a Bethesda game that has ever not had something broken the moment it released. So I'm gonna hold off, wait for the patches to drop, and then I'll go in, fresh, and see what happens. That's how I'm going to try and do it. That's just me. Everyone else will probably do something completely different.
That's a fair point. That is the main.
I'm gonna give it a go. If I get into Sea of Stars and I do enjoy it or I don't enjoy it, it depends on when I start Starfield. But how about you, Mr. Stubbs?
I'll give it a go. I'm not I highly doubt it's going to overtake my life. I don't think this is going to be the game of the generation. As everyone says, every time an Xbox first party game comes out, they all go, wow, this is going to be game of the generation. But
Well, no, because it's clearly it's not going to happen. I already know what's going to happen. You're going to be too busy focusing on Gear 6.
They said it was Gears 5. This will be game of the generation.
I know we can sort of give it. I know we can head it off as Microsoft, first party. But I think this is a transitional period for Bethesda, and I think you've got to look at it like this: that they've acquired the rights to release a very large studios or very established studios. Next major title, right, on their journey, right? And as Removal said last week, right, they haven't been making these. This is not their first game. They've been making games within this construct for decades. Is that right?
Huge
Removal?
open world RPGs with thousands of paths, thousands of dialogue, thousands of actions, stuff to find and describe, hidden stuff. They are masters in that aspect, but at the same time, they also are masters. At least in my opinion, that there's a lot of bugs well.
Yeah, I'm not really.
At this stage, it's a personal opinion. I've just had history with their games from previous games. I'm just going to pause a little bit and see how it goes. Other people will be absolutely in this from day naught, or if they paid the extra 30 quid, 5 days early. It is what it is. The crux will be if it's fun. That will be the crux.
I think it's interesting. Sea of Stars gets fantastic reviews, and I'll play that for 5 days prior. It's only 5 or 6 days before the release of Starfield. So, are you going to pay $30 to play Starfield 5 days earlier and miss out on playing Sea of Stars? It's interesting. Of course, not every game is built for everyone, but for people that are sort of enjoy Game Pass and what it offers, for me, it's almost perfect. I can't complain at all.
No, exactly. I mean, for me, I've got so many other games to review, so I'm like, I'm too busy as it is.
Well, I'll give it a go. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm not hyped for it. I'll give it a go because
which one, Sea of Stars or Starfield or both?
Starfield.
Gear 6.
It's had too much people hyping the game. If the game will never live up to what people want it to be. It's never going to live up to that. I have no history with Bethesda at all. I tried ESO Online. I didn't really like it. Skyrim,
I've never
Oblivion.
I've never played any Bethesda game other than the opening sequence for about 10 minutes on Fallout 4. But I'm in the same boat as you, Mr. Stubbs.
So I've tried them, just never really got on with them. We'll see what they're
Fallout
about.
3 was a I spent too many hours in Fallout 3 and a hell of a lot of hours in Fallout 4. I refused to play Fallout 76 after the diabolical hell they put everybody through for that, so I refused that. And I also played Skyrim. Skyrim was a fantastic game as well. There is, and in those games, they know what they're doing. They do really know the how to make interactive, personal, engaging, fun experiences. But at the same time, they are well known as well, as I said, for just having not the best removal of bugs. So I don't think you're going to be missing out. You're still going to be enjoying it, whether you play it now or a month later down the line.
Removal, I'm going to ask you a question, and it's in hope. Okay, so do you remember when Mass Effect Andromeda, when we first ever saw the presentation, and what it was, there was a screen, and very similar to the trailer Mr. Stubson has put up on the screen kindly for us, whereby it was flipping through different terrains, and it was like, wow, we're going to get to explore so much more within Mass Effect Andromeda, and the visual fidelity of what they were showing was absolutely incredible. I don't know, it was an initial trailer, but looking at this trailer, it reminds me so much of what Mass Effect Andromeda was hoping to deliver in terms of future promise. And so when you see Starfield, does it does it remind you at all, or perhaps the game's taken any sort of inspiration from the Mass Effect series and from Mass Effect Andromeda? And I only say this because I caught something Todd Howard was saying in terms of how the game begins, as in, you're a worker at a factory or something or other, a miner, and then you touch an artifact, etc., and then you see something, blah 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 blah, in the future or in the present or the past, whatever, and then the adventure begins. And I thought, here we go, and I thought I have to ask Removable's opinion on what the hell is going on here. You know what I'm referring to, right?
Story was never their strongest point of Bethesda games. Don't get me wrong, I actually found 9 times out of 10 when it comes to Bethesda games, for me, and this is just personally, I've actually found side quests more enjoyable than sometimes the main storyline. They have got some amazing side quests that really pick up and ramp up your emotions. The main stories, I've always found they're okay, but they're not too deep. Don't go too deep in where I found actually some of the small curated side stories, the side quests were fantastic. They were really, really good. So for me, I don't know. It's a hard one to say. I'm not going in for the story. I think the story I'm going to be. It's going to be Blair, I think, but that's maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they've got some really fantastic writers, but for me, I'm going to go in for the gameplay and see if it's fun. If it's fun,
but you did note the similarities.
To be honest with you, there's similarities. I think everyone is at this point is just they're taking bits of inspiration, quote fingers, from. No. It's from everywhere, and I'm sure they've taken some Mass Effect. I'm sure they've taken some Elite Dangerous. I'm sure they've taken some No Man's Sky aspects and just looked at what would work and tried to make something that works for them at the same time as well. So,
I just hope I'm not making the mistake. I probably am. I probably already made it in the fact of going into this as hoping that. Or seeing this as the spiritual successor to a franchise we really enjoyed. Not Gears.
I think this is a different beast in its entirety. Yeah.
No, it's probably closer to Gears, right, Mr. Stubbs?
No, that's it. Somehow.
Well, it is. Gears 6 is open world.
No, I bloody better not be.
And set in space.
Yeah, maybe that's what's happened. Yeah,
but within the boundaries of the Earth and the Moon, obviously.
It better not be open world. Semi-open world didn't work. Welcome, Judzilla. Thanks for popping in, mate. Appreciate that. But yeah, Starfield. Everyone's hyped for it. Everyone's hyped for it. That's fair enough. Some people play it.
Some people are hyped for it. Some people aren't hyped for it. Some people don't really like it.
I look. I mean, they've spent so long in making it. It's in Game
Pass
at least, and
the Gears 6. The people think they've spent a long time. They haven't actually spent that long making it at all. They haven't spent. I don't believe all the time after Gears 5 they were doing anything on Gears 6 at all. They weren't. I don't think they were doing anything.
Well, to be fair, experimented with. Come on now. Let's be fair.
With UE5,
Gears 6 really is Gears 5 big DLC.
I thought he was going to say Gears 4 plus
Gear 5 plus. Gear 5
well,
plus.
Gears 4 plus
every
Gears
game's
2.
like that.
It's basically just a very. It's Hive Busters times 2, isn't it? Possibly.
Yeah. If it was like that, I'll be happy. Yeah.
I'd be happy too.
Be really good. That would be.
I do. When they did mention open world, I was like, ugh, no. There are a few games that do open world really well, and there's few games that I've actually really enjoyed as open world games. 9 times out of 10, they're either crammed with nothing, so you get bored easily, or they're crammed with too much, so you feel overwhelmed. So it's a very finite task in some cases. That's why I think something like the curated aspects is a much better. It's a much better way of doing things. Outer Worlds, yeah, Outer Worlds was a much more curated aspect. It was
Wonderful game.
semi-open world,
Wonderful.
I think.
Did you enjoy it, Removal? I like the look of it.
I never
and when
completed
played
it. I
thoroughly
actually I
enjoyed it.
got so many. Yeah, I got about a good chunk way through it, and then it's one of those things. Reviews started coming in thick and fast, and I kind of had to put it to the burn side, and I have never really completed it. But from what I was playing, I had played in some serious amount of hours. Yeah, I really did enjoy it.
I loved it. It was breath of fresh air for me. And perhaps if Outer Worlds 2 piques your interest, you might go back and complete the first one.
Yeah, well, again, it's time. It's trying to make sure I give a.
Stop doing all
every
these
game.
bloody reviews then. Calm down a bit.
Just
tell them no. I'm playing my amazing game Starfield. I'm not available for the next year. Sorry.
I don't think I'd ever do that. No, I think that if I can get some more good indie games to people's, why shouldn't I? And to be honest with you, I've been blessed in that regards because I've just I'm writing the review for one at the moment, and it's so good, really, really good and touching. And it's ironically for
Don't
us
you
in the
break that NDA?
Actually, no. It's. I think it's already out. In fact, so the review is for Fall of Porcupine. If I remember correctly, it's already out.
Okay.
And for those who, in the UK at least, who have any family or friends in the NHS, this is a really good game explaining the hardships and stresses that those in the NHS or those who work in healthcare in general face. It's a really
That sounds interesting.
beautifully well done game. I don't want to give too much away because otherwise you won't hopefully look at the review. But from what I'm seeing, what I've completed, it's a game that I didn't expect that really hits home on so many levels, emotional levels. I was really rooting for some of the characters in this. I was like, sad and then angry. Moments later. So it does bring out some good emotions in this. But it's called Fall of Porcupine. I'm hoping to get the review out for Friday. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant game. I'm not going to tell you what I review it yet because there's still some things that that weren't exactly right. And then there is another one I'm reviewing at the moment, which is comes out this Friday, so that'll probably be next Friday.
Nice. Well,
yeah, I've got so many at the moment. I can't. If I'm lucky enough to review games, I'm never going to complain about that. It's just it's a privilege. It's a very lucky privilege to review games.
That brings me up to a point. It wasn't going to be a topic, but I got to mention it. Bethesda's Cami, I think her name's Cami, on Twitter has been reminding people that people who have early access to review the game, it's an honour, and they must respect the NDA.
100%.
Because every time somebody breaks it and makes out they don't know that they broke it, I think they're saying apparently, the only thing you can say is you're going to do a review, and that's as far as you can go, or you've been given early access. That's all you can say.
If you've been given early access, you can't really talk about it. You can probably just say.
Apparently, she said in the NDA, it's actually in red.
Yes, they are very clear
in red.
Most NDAs
what you can't do.
Yes, yes. Certain NDAs have, as Indy said, there's specifics of what you're allowed to say, what you're not allowed to say. So, for instance, one I'm reviewing at the moment, they said it's no embargo, but its game's not out until this Friday. So I'm not going to talk about that. It makes no sense for me to talk about that game because it's not out yet. And that's just a personal thing.
You will get some Muppet. You will get some Muppet for
I
clout
find
and that, and they
with
get into serious trouble over it, and ruin it. They will.
I for the bigger games, you'll get in serious trouble
Yeah.
doing it. For a lot of indie games, whilst there's NDAs put forward towards you, I see a lot of indie game reviewers just ignore it and just put it out. I've seen this too many times. Well, they'll just drop something out regardless because they know the studio's so small they can't do anything about it. And it'll just, so they'll just push it out for clicks. All the ones I've seen starting to come up recently is, well, they'll use footage and just talk about it as if they've reviewed it. Which is another one I'm seeing at the moment. I've seen a few channels where they'll just go, it's like, well, actually, have you played it? And it's like, no, I haven't played it, but I've seen enough footage, so here's my review of it. And you're like, well, hang on a minute, how can you review something that you've never played? And they'll do that, and they'll word that as review. It's like, well, you haven't played it, how can you review it? And they'll just, there are clauses and that. And again, it depends on the indie games. It's some people will take advantage, some people won't. Now, most indie games, depending on the size of the studio, won't actually have a NDA. They sometimes that comes from the publisher. I've spotted. Sometimes it'll come from the publisher saying it is. Most would just have an embargo and say, look, we don't want you to talk about this until this deadline, and that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But again, people will still even try and break that as well, just for those extra clicks and those extra views. And I think if you're one of those people, you get caught, you get caught. Don't expect me to cry for you if they, they challenge it or take down your video. I have no sympathy for anyone trying to go down that path, especially when it comes to indie games, because they have got a much less budget, they have a much less time, and for you just to do it just for some clicks, I have no what's the word? Sympathy for you. Yeah, sympathy or respect.
I thought you were going to say you have no sympathy if you're hung, drawn, and quartered.
I've seen it too many times. I focus on myself, and that's what I'll do. I'll make sure I give the best quality review I can. I'll spend as much time as I possibly can, and that's it. So, but indie games do that is more rife with breaking embargoes and NDAs on indie games because they're smaller. Yeah, it is. It's part. It is. I've seen it way too many times, where smaller channels or even bigger channels myself will just simply just put it out there a week before the issue date. Now, and I don't think some indie developers can actually do anything about it. They're not big enough.
Well, they can just not give the person said code again.
Well, yeah, but at that point it's too late, isn't it?
Well, yeah, no, but they just don't give them future codes. That's all.
And then there's also people who I know of will have multiple accounts. So
you always get these. You get these. There was, I can't remember his name. He was caught ages ago. He was a streamer, YouTuber. I don't quite know, but he was given early access and information to certain company. I can't remember what it was called, and he had a Twitter account, and he was tweeting all this info out, and he by mistake replied to it in the same nuances, and they caught him for it. I can't remember who it was. It was all over the Twitter. It was about it.
I don't know, to be honest.
I can't remember who it
people
was,
do this.
It was a different Twitter account just to dump all the info. You know what I mean? You get given.
Yeah. People have multiple Twitter accounts.
I can't think who it was. I can't. Anyway, welcome to Fimber. BMG, I hope you're liking the Sonic statue. I just put this up just for you to see. And welcome to Fimber Judzilla. UK Dazarus, that's it. UK Dazarus. I hope you're enjoying the footage on screen, BMG. I just downloaded This is specially for you. I knew you'd enjoy it. No, you don't.
He does. He says he does,
He's
and he just
enjoying it.
doesn't.
He's
You know,
enjoying
he does.
it.
He's little tears coming out of his eye. He
Should-
just doesn't want anyone to know about
Should
it.
drag it full screen for him just so he can get all the viewing pleasure.
Oh, I tell you, he does have a tattoo on his bum cheek with Sonic for no reason.
Do you want to talk about some of the games from Future Game Show?
Oh yeah, why not? Which ones did you like, Stubbsy?
Oh, I was keen. Hang on a minute. I'll just make sure I don't mess this up. Just gonna put them on. Hang on. I've individually downloaded them, so I'm hoping. Oh, that's it. There we go. I obviously knew about this game already. This is called Helskate. One I know indie gamer likes. It's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater meets Hades in Hellskate, an action roguelike where you kickflip, grind, and manual to defeat hordes of demons. Shred your way through Vertham. It launches in 2024. I probably said that word wrong, by the way, but it looks really good. But I didn't know about this before the Future Game Show. But it's really good.
He does keep a good. He actually does. Been keeping an eye.
It is one
and posting. His updates on this.
It really.
No, it's been absolutely brilliant. Looking absolutely brilliant game. As you said, it's a Tony Hawk set in hell, effectively, isn't it? Let's face it.
That description I basically took from the YouTube section.
The developers' words.
Well, it's what Future Game Show put up with the video, so I used that rather than make my own descriptions. What I was doing last week. But no, it looks very good. Can you see this, VJ?
Yeah, I can see where. I can see one point of inspiration very clearly in this game, which is Final Fantasy.
Gears.
Yeah, it looks like Gears.
Sephiroth, the one-winged angel.
Sekiro, yeah, 100%, yeah.
And the game was also.
I was going to say it's got a great art style, hasn't it? Absolutely great
really
art
has.
style.
Indie Gamers are saying it was also one of the first shown at the Day of the Devs in the summer, shown off as well. I think that's probably where I seen it on one of Indie's shows. He was streaming.
There was another skating game that I was talking to Indie. I've forgotten the name of it, but it looked fantastic. It wasn't this. I'm pretty sure it wasn't this. But
there is a particular one I can that's coming out soon. I can't tell you about that.
Oh,
it's coming out this Friday, in fact.
He's got into IT.
There you go. He's broke his NDA.
No, not at all. There is no NDA actually. For me, it's just embargo. But yeah, there is another one that's coming out this Friday. The best I can describe it is it's Jet Set Radio combined with Tony Hawk.
Sounds nice.
So if you know what Jet Set Radio is,
yeah,
and maybe VJ may have known about that.
Sega Dreamcast. Indie Gamer Skate Story, he's saying.
Skate Story, there you go.
But he can say it, can't he?
Ah, see, that's not the one I'm talking about.
Oh,
so
right.
There's another one.
Oh, okay.
That's right, Judd Zero. Well done. You
Bun
hit it
Rush
off.
Cyberpunk. I've heard a lot about this one.
Yeah.
Is this on? I'm presuming this game's going to be coming to consoles as well.
This Friday.
If you're covering it, it definitely is coming to a console.
Yeah. It's I'm covering this one as well. Yep. I'm actually going through it as we speak right now.
I haven't got that trailer, but I have heard a lot about it.
It is. It's as best way I can describe it is. And they've even said it's a blend of Tony Hawk and Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future. So if you've ever played Jet Set Radio Future or Jet Set Radio, you'll have a pretty good idea what it is.
Yep.
And in fact, if I remember correctly, I think the musicians. Sorry, I think the art style or the musicians from some of the Jet Set Radios are actually in the new game that's coming through. But yeah, I don't want to go too much about it. But
Judge Zilla sounds like he's already sold. He's going to watch your review, but he's buying it.
I can't say anything. I don't
know.
want to say anything.
Don't worry about it.
It's, got
We'll wait for your
embargo.
review.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it. So yeah, I'll be reviewing that. It won't come out this Friday because I've got one coming out this Friday, and I've got to properly go through it. But it should be out next Friday, so it's a week behind.
But no, it's
But yes,
Helskate
it
looks
is.
good.
Yeah,
I recently bought.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about this game. Yes, Hellskate is another one that I looked at and I was like, wow, this is like a. I do hope this actually does really well because if it does really well on PC, hopefully then it gets ported to console. And it's games like this I think will do it fantastically well on the console. These sort of things, I just really hope that I really hope that people go out there. If you've got a Steam account, do give them a wish list, do purchase it, because when you do, this helps them, and it also helps them when it comes to ID Xbox, if they wish to go down that path, in porting things over to the consoles. And more people playing this game on more platforms is always going to be the best way.
I'm sure Goat Force Gaming will like this with it being the rogue. I'm sure he'll like that because that's his jam. I'm sure I've seen him mention that he's liking the look of this one. But yeah, I'll move on to some of the game. I'm going to move on to a pick that. Hang on a minute. I just better go.
Silk Song.
See if I got the description here. Hang on. Hang on. It's in the other document. I'll move on to one of the ones that. Okay. Right. There we go. This one here. Right, this one's called Hellsweeper VR. This is one that removal sanity like look of. That he hasn't got VR, but he like the look of it. A brand new gameplay trailer for Hellsweeper VR shows us an intense action game where you defy twisted souls with treacherous of pure pain, swords, guns, and magic. It's coming to PSVR 2, MetaQuest, Steam VR, and Viv Point on September 21st. Probably messed one of the words up when describing it. But it does look good.
What I liked about besides the visual aspect of it, what I liked about this was that it had a co-op play. Kind of, see if you see here, one guy will buff up his VR friend as well, and they'll try and go through and play this game. And I just thought this looked absolutely brilliant. Even though I don't own a VR in any shape or form, this this sort of fidelity and also the ability to mess around and just play around with a colleague was just like, this looks brilliant, absolutely looks brilliant. So I'm hoping, this is one thing I really wish that Xbox would have pushed in, was a little bit of VR on the Xbox. I don't understand why they haven't gone down that path. I don't know. Maybe that was something to do with when they were trying to go down with what's the Xbox One 3? It's actually one of 360 where they had the little camera, which you could play games using your hand. Oh God, what's it called? Kinect. That's it. Yes, Kinect. Maybe that because of that, it didn't do as brilliantly. They're kind of hesitant to try VR on the Xbox. I agree, Dragon Rule. I think Xbox should allow third-party VR. I think it would work really well. I think it would just be another cap into the bonnet. I think it's one of these things that PlayStation have shown it can be done well, and VR seems to be coming. Games-wise, like this, are getting better and better and better. So I think this is something they should look into it at the very least, to try and compete on the same stage as Sony with. So hopefully, but yeah, I saw this and I was like, this looks absolutely fun as to hell to play. And I'm not I have someone who hasn't got VR, but this makes me want to look into VR. But that was my pick.
Nice. Do you like the look at this, VJ? Can you see the game?
I can see it, and I can understand. Well, from knowing Removable Sanity, the kind of games and the visual designs and the settings that he enjoys, you can kind of determine exactly the sort of game he's going to go for. But the fact that it's VR, it's not. I'm not neither here nor there with VR in terms of I have to have it or don't. I've never really experienced it other than listening to my nephew who's got a couple of different VR setups and plays it quite frequently. But for me, it's a case of the premise for the game looks good. Just that opening scene there, just sort of kind of reminded me of the initial reveal trailer for Avowed. But then obviously then you see the pistols and so on and so forth, and I was thinking, okay. Then it reminded me of that game. What was that game that came out that had a lot of hope for it? It didn't do. I think it was called something the Wild West or something. It came out recently. From Focus Media.
I know what you're trying to say. Yeah. Wild West. It was West something, wasn't it? Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about. So yeah, I can see the initial. Well, I can tell you now, if this trailer was coming, I was sitting removal, would say he would definitely, pique his interest in to say, oh, hello.
Do you mean Weird West? Masuki says.
Weird West. That's it. Yes.
That's it. Yeah, Weird West. I hope that comes to Game Pass. It's not something I would pick up, but I think some of the ideas they had in it were really cool. But anyway, I don't want to detract from what we're looking at. But yeah, and the fact that this is co-op.
Well, that's the thing that I saw as well, because and the fact you can buff each other looks brilliant as well. That's what kind of got me, is that you help each other out, buff each other to get through the game.
I wish you'd buff my bank account.
Exactly.
Sorry. I had to throw a joke in. It was getting a bit too serious.
Too serious. But look, they can sweep a skull. I mean, what game can allow you to do that? Sweep the skulls of your enemies to the wayside. There you go, already sold. To be honest, I'm surprised a friendly pest hasn't decided to shout at something like, it's VR. But yeah, no, this looks really good. And I was like, well, there you go. That's if those are the VR enthusiasts out there, you have a game that I think most people would want to try and play.
Would you, if you had a VR, is this something you would review removable?
Yeah, because this is co-op, I would need a second person to do it with me.
You can conscript me in, no problem.
But this looks kind of fun to play. Survive together, die together. See, what more do you want?
We'd probably be doing a lot of
We'd probably do a lot of dying.
Just so you know.
So, welcome, Scott. Thanks for popping in. And the next game is one of Indie Gamer's most anticipated games, and Luke Steele's, I think. And let's pop it on.
Gear 6.
So, this is a story trailer for Pacific Drive. Took viewers on a scenic trip through the chaos of the Olympic exclusion zone, revealing more about the game's world. Pacific Drive is going to PC, PS5 in early 2024.
I saw this where you see you basically upgrade your car and you get further through the world as you upgrade, isn't it?
Yeah, I saw this with the Indie Gamer on his show a little while back, and it was definitely a standout trailer for me that I was speaking to Indy about. But I haven't seen. I can't think of another game like it. I think specifically. But then when I remove, I don't know if you noticed, but I mean, for an indie game, for the sheer number of individual assets in this game was quite remarkable. And then I mean, game development takes time and it's not cheap to do. But when you've got so many. I mean, you see indie games and you can see where certain elements and textures and assets have been modified and reworked and so on and so forth to and really smartly so, right, to give you new environments. But this is I'd love to know what the team size and budget is, because they've got a lot going on in this game besides the actual premise of the game itself. But in terms of the sheer volume of assets in the garage alone, right, it's quite phenomenal. But the game looks pretty good as well. Whatever the hell it is.
It does look really good.
I'd definitely want to try this one out if we could. Is it coming to Xbox as well? I didn't see Xbox.
No, it's only on PS5 and PC.
Oh,
all right, there you go. You got a PS5, VJ. You're fine.
I haven't actually touched. I haven't touched my PS5 other than Ratchet and Clank here and there, but primarily I've been on Switch, as you both know, and on Xbox, and it looks like I'll be on Xbox till Christmas.
Yeah, you can still, you can get this on PS5 and play it.
Removable. I think that Sea of Ori, Sea of Stars, Starfield, and perhaps Silksong, which I hope comes out soon. It's like you say, right? When you know how much I don't just play a game, right? I invest myself into it if I get into it, and Starfield may end up being another Tears of the Kingdom for me. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know anything about it. I don't know enough about it, but I do know that I like Mass Effect Andromeda.
So here's a bit more info. VJ, Indie Gamer said it's a roguelike game, so the upgrades is the core to the gameplay and the survival elements.
It does explain in the trailer.
Yeah, it says the car is the thing you need to keep alive.
Now, whilst you can leave the car and get those upgrades, obviously that is your main hub. That is basically you've got to try and use to escape and traverse around the entire area.
Why do I remove it? Why is it every time I see the car, I expect Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray to step out of it?
You mean like Ghostbusters?
Yeah, it does look like it. It's got a neutron pack. What is it? Proton packs or whatever.
Proton pack, yeah.
Nuclear accelerated proton packs, yeah, unlicensed. So it's funny.
Well, to be honest with you, the very first Ghostbusters game did exactly that. It did exactly that, where you had to upgrade your car, upgrade your equipment, and you go out and fight ghosts. And it was on the Spectrum 128K. So it actually did do that. That's exactly. And I'm surprised no one's ever. They didn't ever do the same. They didn't bring that premise. Didn't modernize it, but. Yeah, this definitely does look good. It's got that lovely art style, and it's just got the
a lot of work.
See, look, you see upgrading it there. You can see them, cutting pieces apart and fixing the car up.
I'm not sure if this is this trailer I saw removable. I think it was a different one where it had a lot more attention and focus on the actual inside the garage itself and modification process.
I suspect there is. To be honest, I think there's a couple of them where you can one thing focuses on the car, the other one focuses on the exterior. This is much more of a theatrical trailer, isn't it? Let's face it.
Yeah. Gears could do with looking at this. Gear 6 is
Right, we'll move on to another game. I'm sure that Removable told me you like the look of at the show.
I sent you a whole bloody list. Which one? That's not exactly easy to talk out. Which one you're talking about?
Eternights.
Eternights.
Eternights. That's it.
That did look great. Yeah, absolutely good.
Eternights is a post-apocalyptic anime hack and slash where you beat up monsters and go on dates. A new trailer for the game debuted during the Futuregamesshow at Gamescom, revealing an updated release for the game. It now launches on the 12th of September 2023 for PC, PlayStation and Xbox.
Oh, he's on Xbox.
That's what it says.
Oh, superb. I saw this and I thought...
Day one, everyone. Heard it here. Here will be day one.
I actually thought this was only coming out on PlayStation. I was going to get... Actually, I had a kind of little mini speech for this. I was like, why do we always lose some of these amazing games? It's only whenever Sony ever gets them.
I see why you like the look of it now. See what
Oh,
I'm sure it's
um,
I'm sure it's vice versa as well, right?
Oh, exactly the same thing. Yeah, there's stuff in there, But I was just like, you know me, I'm an
it
anime
does
fan.
say just PlayStation, but in the Future Game Show actual
See, look, there's
YouTube
no
link,
Xbox thing there. See, that's why I thought, it's going to come to Xbox.
see in the YouTube, if you click on the actual individual trailer, in the description it says Xbox. So whether it's an advertising thing, I don't know, but it does say
If
Xbox.
it does come to Xbox, this is going to be up my street
Unless
because
they made a mistake, I don't know.
yeah, I like this sort of thing. I am a fan of anime games in general, as most people will be acutely aware of. And this is definitely my jam, and I just like the art style of it. Where I just like the premise of it, especially like guy gets his arm cut off and then basically use psycho powers to kind of battle against. Yeah, this is the combat system looks good. It looks like it's a team battle thing there as well, so you can switch between. This has like a Scarlet. What's I was trying to think of is Scarlet Knights, not Scarlet Knights. Oh God, that's going to be annoying now. It has a very similar sort of Scarlet Nexus sort of situation to it, but yeah. So this one.
I think
This one
there
is-
may have been a mistake on their YouTube because I'm on their website now and it's only coming up with PS5, PS4, Steam, and Epic.
See, that's a bit weird
on
because it
the
said
main
it's coming out
website.
September, and then it says holidays.
Yeah, it's.
Did you spot that?
I'm on
So
the.
it says here it comes
no,
out September
yeah.
23rd or something, and then it says holidays. So does that mean then it's in September it comes out for PlayStation and Steam, but Xbox gets it around the holiday mark?
I don't know, but even on the official website and everything, it doesn't mention Xbox. Maybe Future Games Show slipped up and put it on their YouTube in the description, but everywhere else it doesn't mention Xbox. So I don't know what's going on there.
Even on the video trailer, it says here September. Was it like September 28th? But then it says holidays.
September the 12th, I thought it came up.
Was it 12th?
Maybe true in the game, the website might not be updated yet. Correct.
It's interesting seeing his arm. It's
September 21st. Oh, no. It's September 12th, 2023. Bam, bam. And then holiday 2023.
I'll just check. X.
So that's am I just do they associate holiday 2023 as?
No, it may have just been a slip up in the terms of, hey, like that's the end card, but they've put that September 12th date beforehand and not changed the end card because that can sometimes happen. It's a big slip, but it can happen.
Mr. Kiwa, there's this one here. It's
I'm on the official
Eternights.
social media and this post was made the 23rd of August. And they're saying it's going to be the 12th of September.
Yeah.
They were saying in this actual post it's going to be released early on the 12th of September.
Ooh.
And it also is getting a physical release. But there's still no mention of Xbox though, so I don't know why that's put up there.
It's coming to
It's
Xbox.
interesting. There's the theme of his right arm being taken and then being replaced.
That's what I thought. It just has a very unique aspect to it, and I was like, this looks great, but it may not be coming to Xbox.
Welcome, Mr. Kima. We thought that how do you say it? Removal. Eternights.
Eternights.
Yeah,
Eternights or something. Yeah.
We thought that was coming to Xbox because in the Future Game Show trailer, in the description on YouTube, it says Xbox, but everywhere else it does not mention Xbox. That's all. It's a bit odd. Maybe they made a mistake in writing it.
And I know Sony does have a lot of Eastern games that come only solely to the platform. It's just this one. I was like, I was hoping that it would maybe make its way over to the Xbox platform too. I mean, I'm happy for it, PlayStation to have this for a year and it comes out later on. I'm not a problem with that, but I would like to see more of these type of games coming over to Xbox.
Hopefully it does, but maybe I don't know. It's weird how the Future Game Show would actually make a mistake like that, but maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Maybe they haven't updated all the websites yet. I don't know. All I'm going off is what was in the trailer on the Future Games show for
Or
YouTube
maybe
description.
you already said it's exclusive to PlayStation and Steam for 3 months, and it's coming out in Christmas for Xbox.
You never know. Hopefully, but you never know.
But yeah, this was when I saw that caught my eye very quickly, and I was like, "Oof, looks right up my street."
So, the games. I can't remember. I can't actually remember. This one here, I've got Tormented Souls 2.
Tormented Souls 2.
I'm about to flick the video over. So
Now, for those who don't know what Tormented Souls 2 is, Tormented Souls 1 is out as we speak right now on all major platforms. And it is the sequel to a technically brand new... what's the best way of describing this? It has a original Resident Evil vibe, but in modern day, but in a modern day graphics. So they've taken the third person perspective, the camera angles. They've taken the, Resident Evil sort of storage system, an upgrade system, and this is like a brand new franchise that was done. It was really well received. The first one was really well received. A lot of people loved Tormented Souls, and the developers there, who is again a small indie team, has now made the second one. So the first one's right out now. I think actually the first one is on sale at the moment. I think. Don't know. Don't quote me on this, but I thought it was actually listed as actually on sale for a short period. So if you like Resident Evil, your original Resident Evil with fixed camera angles,
the description just calls it a sinister survival horror game.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah. If you have a look at Tormented Souls 1, and it'll give you a perfect example of what it is.
Caroline Walker returns in Tormented Souls 2, a sinister survival horror game that wrapped up the Future Game shows at Gamescom 2023, coming to consoles and PC in 2024. But your description was far better than what I said.
Well, what really got people was that it had it had the original sort of Resident Evil mechanics. But for me, what I liked about it, it had almost like a Clive Barker situation in terms of the monster design. There's a lot of the monsters themselves are tortured souls in this medical asylum in the first one. I don't know what's happening in the second one, because obviously it's the second one, but the first one, it was like effectively I think it was she was searching for a sister or something like that. My brain's gone at the moment, but it had a Clive, but the monsters in this had very like a Clive Barker vibes. So I was like, everyone really did enjoy this. I think it really got well praised. I think most people said it was it has got some amazing jump scares as well.
Ulrich's a big horror fan. He is of games and films. He is. Yeah,
I would recommend, if you like your Resident Evils, the first one is out right now. Play it, and if you like that, I suspect you'll like this. They did a really good job with this one. They really did. I think it's their very first game. I'm not 100% sure. Again, please don't quote me on that. But I like the look of this. I saw the first one. I enjoyed that. In terms of what I saw, and I'm kind of looking forward to the second one.
Just a little update for you, Removable. Fimber has found a dev DM about Eternights, and they said that the game will eventually come to Xbox and Switch.
Yes. Thank you, Thimba. That gives me hope. So I suspect then what was actually probably right is
it's a little window.
It is correct. It's just an exclusivity window. Yeah. And maybe the holidays 2023 is when it's coming out. So the PlayStation and PC will get it now. We'll get it. Sort of Switch might get it at Christmas, which I'm happy with. Do you know what? I'm happy with that. That sounds brilliant to me. happy with that. Thanks, Limber. Much appreciated.
Tell him you've tell him you got a customer.
Yeah, that's definitely. Here's a screen from the developer.
It's probably. I don't think you could probably see it in our chat somehow.
I can't see it in the live chat. You can.
Yeah, I won't be able to bring it up on this screen. I can with some work.
Timber, if you can send me that through Twitter, much appreciated, my friend.
But yeah, this game looks. What do you reckon to it, VJ? This Tormented Souls 2. Are you a horror fan? I'm not, but.
I'm not particularly, but when it comes to the mind, we're all very capable of poisoning that particular well with torment. So I don't think I need another video game to help me do that. So yeah, it's a hard pass for me.
Did you ever get into the Resident Evil series, the original fixed corners and stuff like that?
I've played all of them. Pretty much.
Did you enjoy them?
Yeah, I enjoyed Resident Evil 1 and 2 and 3, and then the remakes, and I think I just finished.
I would say then, this is
4 I haven't played remake. Yeah.
So think of like the remakes and the originals. This is a new franchise with that mechanics in play, set in basically an asylum. It was really good.
I think there's a distinct. I can't think of it what it is right now, but I think there's a distinct.
Resurgence?
No, there's a distinct approach, and just in the nature of Capcom's approach to horror games, or the genre, or horror action in terms of Resident Evil versus, the psychological horror of Silent Hill, and Silent Hill I didn't really play, and this seems to lean more towards I can only tell you from the trailer, you'd probably able to tell me whether I'm right or wrong, but leans more towards what Silent Hill has to offer versus an action horror.
No, the first one was very much more into the first one, except the monsters themselves have just had a Clive Barker-esque sort of situation, but they were much more into. I know what you're saying with the Silent Hill is a much more psychologically based. This is much more action based. I think would be the best description for it.
When you mentioned Clive Baker, I thought you meant the regulars Stubbs is local.
I would say your best bet, VJ, is probably have a quick look at the YouTube videos that are already out for this game, and have a look on that.
But this game, is it this game or the sequel or this one itself, Tormented?
I would gauge the first one because this is the sequel, and this will give you a better understanding of what this sequel is going to probably be about in terms of its gameplay. Just Tormented Souls, yeah.
Oh, so this is Tormented Souls as well. Is this part 2?
This is Tormented Souls 2, yes.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it was. I didn't get time to review this, to be actually honest. It was out. I had the chance to do so, and I didn't get a chance to do it because I was like, oh bugger, and I kind of regret not doing it. I might do it later on, further down, so if I ever get any chance. But
you might get your chance for this.
So many people played this. It was a hit. It really did come out of nowhere. If you like the original Resident Evil games, this picks up that entire ethos in a new franchise, though.
I'll tell you another game removable it reminds me of, and I may have this completely wrong, is a Fatal Frame.
Oh, Fatal Frame's, yeah, very different. Fatal Frame, it was, I know what you're saying. Very different genre, isn't it? I don't think that's Resident Evil. That's more...
Just in terms of the eeriness and the horror that it depicts.
Yeah, no, I see. Maybe in the eeriness, but then again, the first one, the way I described it, was literally you're sitting in a house and you're just looking around the corners for things that you knew would. So the monsters in Resident Evil, where they're always in that one path and they stay in that one path, is exactly what happens in Tormented Souls. They always stay in that one path.
This has got some sort of very sort of dark Victorian, those sort of, you get those dark Victorian, very ill-looking children, right? That period, like you know, and I'll tell you another game this reminds me of. I don't know if you played Resident Evil 7 in terms of, because I'm just looking at the trailer of the original. Resident Evil 7 is very similar as well in the visual style of Tormented Souls. So, and I did enjoy Resident Evil 7. So just so you know. So, yeah.
It was just put it this way. Those
Just
who
can't stand
liked
creepy
the
dolls.
original Resident Evils praised this quite heavily, from what I remember. When it was coming out, it was the one thing that I think I'm trying to think of those who the person who has mentioned it, but he literally said, "Finally, we have a original Resident Evil franchise to fall back on. You know, where they kept the fixed angles, they kept the fixed, you know, they kept the same." Exactly fixed, you know, they kept the fixed, you know, upgrade systems, saving systems where you can only save at certain times and certain. They kept the original ethos of the Resident Evils and just went with this new franchise. As I said, it got really high praised from the Resident Evil fanatics. So if you do like those, I would recommend probably playing the first one. So yes, I'm looking for the second one. So there you go. Stubbs has gone to sleep.
No, I haven't. I'm still here. I am. I'm just looking up. I'm just looking up a trailer because I'm about to show the Robocop one, but I heard it's being delayed until there we go. So
Did anyone see the gameplay for this?
Right, I'm about to bring it up. 2nd of November it's been delayed to. Right, I was just checking because somebody tweeted about it being delayed. Right, hang on. So I'll just bring it up. Take off.
Did you see some of the gameplay for this?
I did, yes.
What did you think?
I just check the music's not on. Yeah, music's off.
I
think it looks. I'll just read the.
It's a really bad Robocop theme humming scene, wasn't it?
Wait. I'll just Robocop. So a blockbuster gameplay trailer for Namco's Metal Justice. Probably said that wrong. FPS Robocop Rogue City dropped during the Futuregames show at Gamescom. Rogue City is coming soon to PC and consoles. And obviously we now know it's the 2nd of November this year. Mm-hmm. It's dropping. Back to the video.
Yes, it is voiced with Peter Weller, which is good.
It looks...
But I have my reservations about it. The trailer looks good, and then I saw the gameplay. And
the gameplay doesn't look as good, does it?
No.
No, it doesn't. No, I did think that.
It looks...
stiff.
Yeah, it looks really...
Yes, and yes. It really does look stiff, and there is no fluidity in this whatsoever. I saw the gameplay, and it's just literally, you just walk along going pew, 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 pew.
Yeah,
pew,
it looks like...
and I'm like...
It does remind me of Time Crisis a little bit.
Looks like...
Yes, yes, perfectly well. It's a shame because it just, everything feels scripted. It doesn't feel dynamic in any of the action that you're going through. It literally, you're walking through a corridor. Don't get the effects looks pretty good, you know, where you can shoot off, or you can fire off walls and hit them from behind, or you can fire on something and it will fall on them. But it just looks so stiff, and as you probably said, Time Crisis like. And I was just like, they really need to make this much more dynamic in some way.
The opening 30 seconds of the trailer, and I thought, oh my goodness, is this a new Batman game? And then suddenly, because of the visual style, and then suddenly I thought, okay, maybe not Batman, but oh my god,
it looks quite old-fashioned graphics.
Why do the character models and the facial structures and the animation system look so archaic? You know, from PS2 generation.
Yeah,
I did also.
Unless that's what they were going for. I don't know.
Possibly. One thing I did kind of laugh was the lip syncing was horrendous on the gameplay they showed. Now, I don't know if that was just something to do with the video, but the guy would be like, you know, he'd be talking, and then you could see a couple of seconds later his lips would move, and you're like going, what the hell?
I don't know what the budget for this game is, but a lot of money seems to be spent on the environments and not a lot of time, money, or budget, or resource, or software to spent on for the animation and the facial animations. And there's plenty of tools out there to do it. It's not as if it's an issue.
I'm not saying it doesn't look good. It looks okay. It looks good, but it just looks so stiff. When you saw the gameplay trailer for stuff for it, it's like, is that all you're doing? Come on, there must be something more than that. It was.
I'm not being funny, removable yet, but it looks like like when Sony, used to release the PlayStation 1 and then the second and the third console, and then they'd have like demos showcasing what the system can hold and the future promise that the system will hold. It's like one of those trailers, right? And then when you look back at it like 10 years later, it's go, God, that looks dated.
Warwick does mention it. He said they are trying to make it move like Robocop, slow and sluggish.
Well, they've put that held, slow and sluggish. Yeah.
I think that's the thing.
Why would you do that though?
Well, because then it's correct to the original ethos of the game. But the trouble is, if you're just a walking slow tank walking through environments, that isn't fun.
No.
But okay, it's fun for maybe the very first couple of levels. It's gonna get bloody boring pretty quickly. It has side missions and other things too. I kind of hope so. I'd like to think maybe it can tie into his detective part or the stuff like that, or he can go into doing different things. I just saw the gameplay probably put me off a little bit more. This looks like all this trailer it shows off everything, and it's like, oh, this looks really,
It's
dynamic.
really promising, but when you see the characters, when you see the animations, they look like stock animations and character models that you can buy off of a website. Come on, it does look like that.
It does look.
Some of it looks like the stuff I've got a game on my PC. My son plays Gary's Mod. You get Half-Life 2 bits and bobs, and a lot of it does look like that stuff you can get inside of that.
And do you know what? This really frustrates me because they've got the original voice actors back. So I wanted this to do well. We've always wanted a really good Robocop game. And I'm just like, I really hope there is more than what the gameplay shows, because the gameplay kind of put me off. It's not normally something like this doesn't normally put me off, but it actually did. It's like this looks a little bit boring, and I was like, oh no, I really, I'm not. As I said, Indy said it. I'm not writing it off, but when I looked through the gameplay section, not the trailer, the gameplay, it did look. I was like, it's one of those things that it's great for probably half hour, but then it's going to get bloody boring if that's all we're doing. But as Warwick said, apparently there is other side missions and stuff like that. I think they need to show us that so that I can, show else, because at the moment I don't. For me at least, it just looks a little
it would
boring.
be good in VR, Warwick. There would be something else would be probably good in VR.
This lends itself definitely to VR, 100%. Well, I said the speculation was looking at the gameplay they gave us. So it was like 15 minutes of pure gameplay, and you saw the guy walk through one of the levels, and I was like, And you said maybe that's just a snippet of that one particular area, but I was like, I don't know, it just felt stiff, and it did feel a little bit boring, and I was like, oh no. Again, that's just my opinion. I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I really am hoping I'm wrong, because at the end of the day, I'd like to see that how he becomes brutal as well. I'd like to see a bit more adult sort of situation added into this. We're speculation here. I'm speculating here. That was my initial take from the very first gameplay, not the trailer, but the gameplay. Oh yeah, that was. Do you know what, that brutal scene? If that would be superb. Imagine that in a video game where you saw that. Oh, that would be good. But yeah, that's my take of it. I like the look of it, but it was like, I need to see more of it. I really do. Before
The environmental art's pretty good.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The environmental art's superb, isn't it? Character models. I said the lip sync. It also was all pretty horrendous when I was watching. But, you know.
Okay, that's enough airtime for this game. What's next?
What's next is
Year 6.
Hang on.
You'd think he'd have a template of just so you could just drag these in one after another.
No, I have. I've pressed it.
Can't you just click buttons? It'll just flick you through to the next one.
It's on.
The thing is, what he's doing, he's frantically searching for Gear 6.
He's downloading it as we
Can't
speak.
find Gear 6. This game's called SPRAWL. It's a hardcore cyberpunk shooter. SPRAWL's Shadow dropped on PC, the Futuregamesshow. Gamescom 2023 with some killer gameplay. Yeah, so it's basically, this game's out now.
Go play it.
This looks like the alpha version of Cyberpunk.
There was a different word. I couldn't read it. That's why I said something else. Really?
Podcast list of...
Am I?
I don't know.
Okay. I just...
Considering he basically sent us a DM and went, I hope you've watched the video, put your takes in here now. Clearly, what it means is we've all got amazing taste.
You've won. You've won, Indie Gamer. I'm taking more interest in indie games. I'm taking more interest in indie games. I am.
Like Starfield.
How bloody time. Starfield. Gear 6.
When's Gear 6 coming? Oh, don't. I have to.
No, this game does look good, though. I must admit, the fluidity of it does. It does. It has a slight Doom where you bounce around. It has a kind of there is a resurgence at the moment with fast-paced first-person shoot 'em ups, and this one did kind of stand out a little bit more than usual. I must admit, it was one of those ones that was like, yeah, I could see what they're trying to go for here. You know, the aesthetics, the art style, the fluidity of it. Yeah, I could definitely see what's going on. Yes, exactly. It looks like a bit like Ghost Runner, but with it. I think it's one of those things. I think they're fast-paced. Their fast-paced first-person shipments are becoming a much more of a thing in the last couple of years, and I think this is one of them that I think most people know. As I said, it is out now, so if anyone has played it or is playing it, give us your thoughts on it, because that would be helpful.
I thought it looked good, but did you just watch Did you watch the actual show?
I couldn't because I was too busy at the time, so I watched the
presenters.
I watched what was left. What was the show? I basically watched it after it finished. Yeah.
It's a good.
I saw
show.
all the controversy. Mere hours after everybody.
No, there was no controversy in the Future Games
really?
show.
The guy jumping on.
No. The Future Game Show was its own.
Oh, yes.
You're talking about Opening Night Live with Geoff Keighley. You are.
Yeah, I must have thought that was it as well. Yeah.
No, the presenter was good in Future Game Show. Maybe it's my sense of humour, but I didn't find them funny. Just kept trying to be funny the whole time. Maybe it's my sense of humour. I didn't get it. But
they're just not into Gear 6 as much as you are.
I thought you didn't have a sense of humour.
Obviously, I haven't. What are we doing now?
Yeah, as Indy said, the presentation was corny.
So I wasn't wrong then. It wasn't just me then.
I think
the list of games are awesome.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, they're struggling to find who their target audience is.
They don't need the presenters. They don't need presenters. They can just play a video and a video like indie game, like the Nintendo one, have voiceovers and package it up nice. You don't need them presenters there. Really, you have those voiceovers.
I think if you're having presenters, I think then you should have where it comes presenters really do well is when they're talking to developers in developer QA time, where they go through and talk about the game, or maybe to show some of the gameplay off and talk about it. That's when it does really well. But when it comes to just dropping off, just showing off trailers, it's a bit superfluous. It kind of, to me, and this is just my opinion, it felt like they was padding out the show. Having 2 or 3 minutes of them having a fun, jolly discourse. You're like, not really. No, just, not really interested. Yes.
This Sonic one, I had to show it because this is a trailer that was revealed at Gamescom. A little bit of a different trailer it was. It wasn't at the Futuregamesshow, but Gamescom.
Yep, and I'll be getting this.
I'm interested in it. I am.
I have. Well, the irony is, I have to get this because my son is basically he's a massive Sonic fan, a bit like his dad. So this is something that probably me and him will probably end up.
Because you get a free. I told you about if you give him your email address to give you a free character, and that you were like, oh, I'm slightly worried about that. Does that mean there's new characters coming for money? You were like,
well, that was the thing that that did worry me. I must admit, I was just. Every time they do that, I'm just like, no. See, look. See, this is it. Different characters packs, and I'm like,
I want to ask you something. There's a question in the chat from Indie Gamer. He said, "Did you say
I am going to EGX?
Yeah.
Yes, I'll be there. I'm going to be going. I've got to be careful because I think it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. My partner works at weekends, and so I'm kind of limited to when I can go. So depending on her schedule is whether or not I can make it on the Saturday. I think it will probably be either Thursday and Friday. Is what I might do, depending on what it is. I don't know about the Saturday. Because of her shift work. So, which I don't know which ones you're going to, because you'll probably be there all 3 days, Indy. But yeah, I'll definitely. I was looking into this, and I was just, some of the digital stuff. I was like, ugh. I hope it doesn't happen. But there you go. It's not on Game Pass either. It's a shame.
There you go. That was booking me.
All 4 days.
Sorry.
Oh, fantastic, superb. In that case, then you're definitely have to be able to do a catch up. And I think, I think Thursday will be the. Is it Thursday the first day? I'm sure it is.
Guardian Grimlaw. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I've been to EGX almost
Last
every
time
single
I went
one.
is when they started doing it in London. It was called. Used to call
Well,
Eurogamer.
They did it in London, then it went to Birmingham, then it went back to London again. And I've gone to almost every single one of them, to be honest with you. It's a really good, but I will recommend if you can get the early bird tickets, which gives you an hour before everybody else.
Removable.
Do so.
You should use your channel and get a creator pass.
So sometimes they got strict for a couple of years.
Did they?
Because I kept putting in for Creator Pass, and they got strict. I've actually put in again for a Creator Pass, and to be honest with you, they got strict for a short period. I think there's some people who was abusing the system,
okay.
And then they kind of was a bit more stricter in terms of numbers and views and all that malarkey, which of course a small channel like myself I couldn't do. But I think I've put myself in again this year. Regardless, I'm going to go anyway because I absolutely love the actual EGX itself. It is a great it's a great venue. It's a great experience. But I will say, as I said this to everybody, get the early pass if you can. The tickets are out now. You will not regret it, especially if you want to play on the bigger titles. So if you're a COD fan, if you're a AAA experience, it gives you a chance to get into those queues early because those games will have queues that can be 2 hours long. And I'm not joking.
Who the
They are
bloody hell in their right
horrendous.
mind would queue up for Call of Duty? But then again, you know.
I've been doing it for decades, Mr. Stubbs.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
really?
have. And I tell you what, if you want to get on those big, if you want, so I think the last EGX I went to was, I think it was last year. I literally said to a few other friends from my side, I think it was Tushi and Animated, and I said, look, get on the big ones now, because when 11 o'clock hits, you ain't getting on them for the rest of the day. And luckily they did, and it was right, because they couldn't get on them. It was just, there was no chance in hell. So if you're going for the big games, do it early.
I mean, forget about the games. I mean, I've been to shows where if you wanted an autograph from a creator making a special appearance, they'd have these.
Well,
I don't know if they still have them at the AGX, but they, you'd be standing in queue, and then someone from the show, organizer from the show, will come along and put a post up next to you, just so you know it's like an hour's wait from this point on, and then
That's
or,
right.
or you could be like
another one
removable.
they'll post it like further down the line, say here's from here on. It's a 2 hour.
It's 2 hours. Yeah,
I mean, or you could be like removable and have a one of PlayStation's top guys walk past you and not say a goddamn thing to him.
It can mean a lot to people. It can, meeting a creator, someone's game.
Yeah,
mean a lot.
he passed. I just couldn't say anything because I don't like to bother people.
You could have said, "I'm
Sorry,
not my
BJ.
best fan."
But you've been bothering the coalition for the last hour and a half for Gears 6.
Yeah.
So I couldn't resist removal.
I've had the same thing as India tell you. When we was at EGX, when we was at WAS, there was celebrities there, very, and I just, I don't know, I just feel like I'm bothering them if I go over and have a chat with them. I do feel a little bit, maybe I shouldn't say anything, It, and as you all well know, the moment I start talking, I don't shut up. So for me, I don't want to piss them off and keep them there for about an hour or 2 hours. So I'm like, oh, just leave them alone. Let them get on with their thing.
Yeah, I mean, it can mean a lot to people, who love video games, especially if you're a consumer, and you'd see people talking about it and writing about it back in the day. I queued up for an hour, I queued up for 2 hours, but I got to play this game, and blah blah blah, and these are my impressions and stuff. And as I say, it can mean a hell of a lot to people. It is,
for EGX for me. It was.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bit like anime. It was the event of the year. It was like you have to. You plan. It's my Christmas time of the year for games. It was literally, for me, go to EGX. It's my mecca for the UK because we don't have many gaming events. I think we definitely need a bit more. But so for this one, it was like, gotta go. Every year was like. Psh. Even now, my missus is like, "You going to the same one again?" I'm like, "Yep."
I mean, I've been to a few, but I always, well, not always, but a long time ago, I'd always end up going as an exhibit or someone's under someone else's badge, and I used to watch these, watch consumers or visitors, however you want to call them, having to queue up. I mean, removal. Forget about being inside and queuing up for an hour for a game. Queue sometimes outside waiting to get in can take 90 minutes.
Yes. That's right. Yes.
And I know post 2000 and was it 2001 the 9/11 tragedy. I mean, after that the queues got horrendous because they would every single bag that you were taking in would be
double checked. Yeah, I can imagine.
So it just made the queues even longer. And one time I remember, for whatever reason, I had to collect my pass, but my exhibitor pass, but I couldn't go in as an exhibit. I had to go in through the consumer line, primarily because anyone that was entering, doesn't matter who you are, there was no distinction.
Prestige or anything. There was literally everyone's going through.
Whether you're a consumer or exhibitor, you all had to go through that specific gate, south or west or whatever it was, because all the security procedures were in place there and not at every access point. But once you got your pass, then it was okay. But I didn't understand the point of that because you could go back the next day, and what if you had something different in your bag? So it was a bit, not quite
I think it's just more of a deterrent, I think, than actual thing else. And it's the same through EGX now. You'll still have huge lists. I mean, I've got the event normally starts at 10 o'clock. People show up about 6 or 7 to start setting stuff up. I know of people who will get there for 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Starting at the queue for EGX, I know people will be there for 7 o'clock. I've done it myself. One day, I was one of the very first few people in one year, and I was sitting there for about 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours, just sitting there on my own. And then 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock hit, and there was a huge queue behind me. It's like Jesus
Christ. Are you taking Stubbs with you this year?
No, Stubbs doesn't like to go to gaming events.
No, I forgot. There's no helicopter landing pad, is there, for his private
No,
jet?
there's not
No, there
helicopter
isn't.
landing pad.
There's no landing pads there.
He doesn't really like to interact with people in real life. Stubbs is more of one of those. What's those people? He likes to talk. He likes to interact with people over the phone, don't you, Macy?
I will go one year. I keep saying that. Andy keeps saying you say every year.
Every year.
You mean the next leap year?
Next couple of leap years. This is the thing. If Gear 6 was there, I think that would push.
Me and Guardian Grimlaw might go next year. We'll see.
Pose him the question, removable. Pose him the question.
That's a good point. If Gear 6 was at EGX, would you go?
No.
Stubbs?
Depending if the developer team were there and I get to meet some of the devs are there and you can meet them now, I'll probably go. But to play a game, no, I wouldn't.
I'd probably go. Blimey. See what he thinks of the coalition? It's a maybe.
He does. It's yeah. Yeah, Stubbs. In fairness, and to be fair to some people, I've known too many people who would love to go, but due to the crowds, it's
to be
too
fair.
much.
I mean,
too much for them. So
I haven't been at events in years with mass. I've been to London like the past couple of years, but I've not been to anything where there's mass large crowds since COVID. So, as such, no, I haven't actually been to anything like that. So I've been to conventions. I go to a pest control convention in Milton Keynes every year, but there's not thousands.
Did they have Gear 6 playing?
Normally about 12 people. Don't give us that. It's not really a convention. It's more like a pub get together, isn't it?
About 80 odd people there. Or 100 people probably. But
slightly difference.
The only reason I go is you have to get so many points every year to stay associate member. So I just read the magazines which get you X amount of points, and we go to the convention, and that gets you all the points you need. So that's why I go to that.
I would say, to be honest with you, the thousands of people in EGX, if you're not into crowds or you don't like crowds...
Is it that bad?
Oh, yes.
I won't have a problem getting through, mate. You need to get through the crowds. Just have me at the front. They won't stand in my way, trust me.
It is huge amount of crowds.
He's referring to the local pub, not the event itself. Or the local pie and mash shop.
I'll make sure my head's freshly shaved. They won't stand in the way.
I can completely understand where Mr. Stubbs is coming from. I don't know if I mentioned when I bought Tears of the Kingdom, I made the mistake of I didn't make the mistake of ordering it from GameStop because I had a gift card which I had to use, and I couldn't. I think I told you to remove. I couldn't use it anywhere else. Tried it, wouldn't work. And I used it at GameStop, lo and behold. And I went in and paid for the game, paid for it in full and everything. And they said, I'll come back this evening. And I had to queue for about an hour. And I thought to myself, even having to queue, it wasn't particularly hot or anything, but queue in a line, waiting to pick up a game, which I've already paid for. I'm just never going to do it again. And I just can't see myself. I've done enough shows all over the place. And I can understand what you're saying. If you've had enough of that, blimey, I can't even stand airport queues anymore, to be honest with you. But
It's
a young man's
some
game.
people can, yeah. I mean, they put it this
Sorry,
way.
a young, good-looking man's game.
Put it this way, it's effectively a warehouse to get into the warehouse. There's a warehouse of queuing before you get into the warehouse that holds
queuing.
the
Now
game.
queuing, that would really wind me up. I don't like queuing.
The last EGX one that I was with, and I was lucky enough to be about, I don't know, 30 people behind Pope Art. Shout out to him. And we were getting in early. I would say there was probably 10,000 people there.
How long are you looking at queuing for?
Well, before we got into the event was about an hour.
Fuck,
then we got into the event. Now,
this
obviously,
man's putting me off.
We got into the early pass tickets, so we jumped ahead an hour before everybody else. Even getting through, that took us about 10 minutes to get through, and that was pretty quick. If you don't get the early tickets, you could probably estimate 30 to 40 minutes.
How much are tickets now removable? How much are the tickets now?
£28, I think.
For the 3 days or 4 days?
Oh, no, I think it's £28 per day, I think.
Per day, wow.
Well, to be honest with you,
well, it's London as well.
Many people will do all 4 days. Most people will do the Saturday. That is the prime target for when that day is. But to be honest with you, that's the worst day because it is literally rammed to the brink of people. If you can get in on the Thursday, it's a much better. There's less people there because people are working generally, but it's still pretty hectic. It is still pretty hectic, I must admit. Yeah, exactly. I didn't do 7 a.m. That was when it was. Let's put it this way: this is a long time ago when fast lanes weren't really put in.
I remember. Not saying who I was with, but when I went to the first Eurogamer, I went to years ago when it was called Eurogamer. I went through the general admission, and I was with somebody who had a curator pass. And I was laughing because I was already through the door and then waving at him. Come on. It took more time. Things have changed since then, but it was quite funny.
It is, yeah, exactly. That's what I said. When I first started going, their system was horrendous, and so it was first come, first serve, and so you kind of had to get.
Well, no, it was 2 lanes. It was I got straight in, but then sorting out the person I was with.
Oh, yeah, but it depends on the person who's at the door.
It took longer.
Yeah.
I was laughing. Yeah. I was like, because he said, I'll be in before you and all this and that. And we were in first.
No, yeah, it did. I've seen that happen before, yeah, where basically the person dealing with it is just really slow.
Yeah.
But no, I would recommend it to anybody if you've never been. It's definitely worth your time.
Yeah.
I would say the food and drink is a little bit more expensive. So if you can, probably top up prior to eat before you just get in or something like that. But for a day, your feet will be absolutely barking by the time you've gone around that place.
I met up with Mass Mayhem once in London. He gave me a guided tour. Mass Mayhem for the community. He gave me the guided tour of London. He killed my feet. Nice lad though he is. He knows all the good places to show you. But yeah, I tell you what, I'll say it's a really good. It's really good event, I must admit. And also they've got, just not besides games, they've got posters. They've got plushies, they've got toys, they've got everything. Yeah, exactly. If you don't buy from the event directly, it gets a little bit cheaper. What does that mean? There's different stalls that ain't part of the event there as well. No, is that what you mean?
There's like t-shirt, but there's t-shirts. There's loads of stuff besides gaming there.
Oh, Okay.
You've got comic books that'll be, you can buy comic books there. They've got it's more than just video games in
Sounds
any
like a
essence.
pop more. It sounds like more like a pop culture event.
A little bit, yeah. I say the video games takes up the vast majority of the space, but you know, it's one of these things. If you've never been, I would go. I would really would. The only thing I will say, as with any event, yeah, make sure you dose yourself up on, I don't know, cold and flu tablets. That's what works really well for me, because you will get the convention
Sounds
flu.
like a packet of odor eaters as well.
It is what it is, mate. When you've got 1,000 people in there, 10,000 people in there.
No wonder you put that skull on your head.
You know, after all that walking.
No wonder you put that skull on your head, removable.
Do you know that's the biggest thing.
I bet that's hot.
Yeah, even with every event I go to, I am baking in that thing. It has very limited ventilation, and as Indy will tell you, it is effectively molded to my skull. So what people most don't realise, it is a full-headed mask, and I have chiselled it out over time to perfectly fit the features of my face. And so when I move my face in any direction, the mask actually goes with it. The problem to that is that because it's molded my face, there is very little in terms of ventilation or in actual visual. I have effectively tunnel vision when I wear that mask, so I can only see probably about 25% view range. So if you think about what you're looking at now, you've got almost, I'd say 180 degrees, maybe 190 in terms of your visual peripheral. I have about 25%. And it's pretty much in front of me only. So I have to be very careful. I'm always moving my head left or right to gauge where people are if I'm wearing the mask. And generally I try and take it off the moment I'm playing a game, because that's going to hinder my experience with the game. So if people actually want to see what I look like, in all honesty, and kudos for I think it was India at last EGX. He actually took a photograph of me without my helmet on.
This caused a stir through multiple people, like seeing you for the first time.
Ugly, trust me, no one wants to see my bloody ugly face.
I've seen you before because I got you on WhatsApp, so no surprise to me.
Yeah, exactly. No one wants to see my ugly face, trust me. But it's one of those things that it's it's hot. But the good thing about it is it's eye catching, so I can be spotted from quite a distance. So that could be a good thing or a bad thing. That's right. Yeah, you've done a cheeky edit back and forth, so that was a very good edit as well. Strangely enough, I got a lot of photographs at WES, didn't I?
You will with that.
I had a lot of people just love taking photographs with me. I don't know why.
Well,
there you go.
Was it that, or was it because you had your skull on? Probably your skull.
That's what I said. With my skull on, I had loads of people wanting to take photographs with me. And I was like, yeah, okay, no problem. I have no problem with that. It's it does bring a smile to a lot of people's faces, and that's the main ethos of where I have it. I kind of just basically wear it to make people smile, So yes, I'll be there wearing that again, sweating my backside off like I always do. But I would recommend, if you can, do so. Trying to get Stubbs to go, but you never know. He probably won't.
I may go next year.
You said that last year.
I say it every year, but I may go next year.
Exactly.
I mean it. I might go next year.
You said that last year. You mean it?
Oh well, I bought a PC, you see, so they're paying it off. I'm affording it to see next year. We'll see.
To be honest, you don't have to go for all the days. What I would recommend going is, if you want to try it for your first time, is probably do the Thursday. Go for the very first day and go early bird, and then just catch up with someone, and if you don't like it, you've done it, then, haven't you?
That's true. That's true.
You don't have to do like, I mean, to be honest with you, it's quite expensive if you do all 4 days, without a doubt. And you can probably see most things within a day if you really push hard. And you'll probably see a lot of things within easily most things within the second day. The third and fourth is probably tying up for more of us creators who are trying to tie up developer chats, do a bit of what's it called, interface personnel sort of conversations, more anything else rather than that. I think you could probably get around doing most of the things within 2 days. But if you really, you can streamline that down to 1 day if you look at the map and you just go, right, I'm going to go here, 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 here. So I would just do 1 day if I was you.
We'll see. We will next year. We'll see. I'm just playing loads of Sonic videos on here in case BMG's watching.
That's why BMG's legged it.
Yeah, these are Lego sets now. I did.
Is there any other ones that you liked? Have we gone through all the videos?
I have videos, but not all ones I want to play though. I have videos just in case. We may talk about a couple more next week, but we'll see. But anyway, I think it's time to wrap it up now. It is. So we've done 2 hours. 2 hours, it says.
Is it 2 hours?
Yeah, it's been 2 hours now. Yeah.
Because you said to me that you wanted to try and make the 4 hour mark.
Oh no, not 4 hours.
We can easily go for the 4 hour mark. I think VJ wouldn't matter, would you, mate?
I'll just have to grab a tea.
See? They're sorted.
No, I'm not doing 4 hours. No thanks. But yeah, thanks for coming on, guys. It's been fun. It has. It has. Thanks to the chat. It's been interesting. It's been fun conversations. It has been some good games mentioned. Good conversations. Thanks, VJ, for coming on.
Thank you for having me on.
Do you want to tell people where they can find you?
Not
here.
Really.
Okay.
You stumped him on that one. No, I don't want to tell you all.
At Viewpoint Gaming on Twitter, if you want to follow VJ.
Oh, I'm available to anyone that wants to reach me. I'll be in the great beyond.
Yeah. And thanks to Removal Sanity for joining once again.
Much appreciated. Thank you again for having me on.
Well, you are both part of the regular panel, so you don't have to keep thanking me, the pair of you. But yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. As I said, it's a podcast. Just a conversation.
Yeah.
We take it wherever it leads. 9 times out of 10, it decides to disintegrate and go into a variety of different things.
Well, this week it was purely gaming. We didn't go down any other rabbit holes. Purely
that's
gaming.
Because we talked about other things slightly beforehand, isn't it?
That's true. We could have talked about that, but
your favourite topic.
People are bored of that. Yeah.
I think most people are bored with that now, to be honest. I think it is. I think, to be honest, it was, again, our conversation, our general ethos is throw some topics and then see what happens.
We got to be fair, we got to most of it that I actually put in this week, which is a miracle.
We don't normally do that.
No,
I think
it's
we
a
normally
one-off.
I think, to be honest with you, I think the videos help because you can then see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And you can gauge, and that sometimes prompts a new form of discussion. Where if you can't always see what you're talking about, we can easily divert into, I don't know, talking about, shaving cream for bald people. It's things can happen very quickly. So, but no, much appreciated. Thank you very much for having me.
Where can people find you if they want to?
Oh, yes, I forgot about that. I just see my brain is in. For those who are desperate to be bored out of their skulls with the ramblings that I kind of curate, you can find me on Twitter, YouTube, Minds, and that's it. I think at the moment, just get this to stage under the name Removal Sanity.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks to the amazing
Ooh.
chat. Dragon Wolf, Garden Grimlaw,
Indie
Grimlaw,
Gamer, Masuku.
Warwick Gaming. It's been loads.
Silver Sonic.
Silver the Hedgehog.
That's
Thanks
it.
for popping in. Must be a new sub because I've made the chat subscriber only. Scott and loads of others. Masuko, can't miss Masuko. Mr. Kima popped in. Fimber as well.
Oh yeah, Themebot. Thank you, much appreciate Themebot.
BMG popped in. I hope you've enjoyed the Sonic the Hedgehog. There's been plenty of it. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining us tonight.
Did you just say what I thought? No, he didn't. Definitely didn't say that. No, it's okay.
What did I just say?
No, I can't repeat it. It's just a bit X-rated. I'll tell you offline.
Okay.
I don't know if Removal's got the same gist as I have.
I'm not saying a word.
I don't know what apparently did. I don't know. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. The show. Please like and subscribe. This show is now only on YouTube. It's not on podcast feeds. Had some good feedback the other week about the show. But yeah, thanks everyone for supporting the show. Please like, share, and subscribe. And we will be back next Monday, 9 p.m. BST, 4 p.m. EST. We'll be back with you for some more great gaming conversation with friends. And we'll see you next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Enjoy, everybody. Bye.